Hello guys, welcome to Storytimes. Thanks for joining us. Today we've got a brand new story to share with you. Support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I promise, even more interesting stories. They say hindsight's 20/20, but honestly, I saw it coming from a mile away. I warned her, told her straight, no sugarcoating, no begging, don't go on that trip. But Lisa, she always thought she was the smartest person in the room. Smarter than me, smarter than her own instincts. Even smarter than the ugly little truths gnawing at her conscience. It started the way these things usually do, with 1,000 tiny lies so small they could pass as dust in the right light. The late nights at the office, the sudden weekend seminars, the networking events that looked suspiciously like excuses to disappear for a few days without me. The final straw was that business trip to Phoenix. In August, during a record heat wave, Lisa claimed it was a conference about team-building strategies at some hotel whose name alone sounded like a brochure for divorce lawyers, the Silver Sands Retreat and Spa. Yeah, real professional. You're being paranoid, she said, rolling her eyes the night before she left, tossing silk blouses into a suitcase like she couldn't wait to get the hell out of my sight. Not paranoid, I corrected, voice flat as the beer in my hand. Experienced. That earned me a tight, brittle laugh. You really think I'd cheat on you? God, you're so insecure. Insecure. Right. When you've been loyal, when you've built a life out of early mornings, late nights, and bleeding knuckles trying to keep the damn lights on, but your gut twists every time her phone lights up with a message she's suddenly too busy to answer. It's not insecurity. It's survival instinct. I didn't argue anymore after that. I didn't waste another breath trying to hold together what she was so determined to tear apart. Instead, after she left, I dusted off an old tracking app I'd installed back when we both thought couples who shared locations were just being cute. Funny how fast cute turns into necessary. And sure enough, within hours of her flight landing, her business conference was nowhere near any damn conference center. No, she was holed up at some boutique hotel with a pool sidebar and daybed cabanas. Her GPS stopped bouncing between the lobby, a suite on the 3rd floor, and, get this, the spa. For 2 days I watched, checked the app like a dying man checking a faulty heart monitor. She wasn't even trying to hide it. No business calls. No work emails. Just movement between the bed and the pool and the hotel bar. A woman who once used to blush when a waiter called her a miss now couldn't even be bothered to pretend she was still mine. Maybe it was petty, but I waited until the morning of her supposed closing keynote speech to act. I booked a flight. Same day. Rented a blacked-out sedan at the airport. Drove up to that hotel like I owned the place. Nobody batted an eye. I guess money in a half-decent suit will open just about any door. I found her at the bar, sitting with some guy, tall, too tan, teeth like he bought them on a payment plan. Lisa was laughing, that soft, fake kind of laugh she used to use on first dates. The one she stopped using with me after the wedding because, well, who needs to charm a man once the ink's dry, right? She didn't even notice me until I was practically at her elbow. The look on her face? It wasn't guilt. It was annoyance. Like I was a waiter she hadn't summoned. I didn't say a word. I just set a thick envelope in front of her. The divorce papers, already signed on my end, with a note paper clipped to the top. You're free. Congrats. And then I walked out. No yelling. No scenes. No begging for explanations. I disappeared. Changed my number. Sold the house. Cashed out what I could. Left town so fast you could still smell the rubber on the driveway. I built a new life in a town where no one knew my name. Got a quiet job. Paid cash for everything. Kept to myself. 3 years. 3 damn years of silence. No calls. No texts. No letters. Until 2 nights ago, my phone, the one number only my lawyer and my bank had, lit up with a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was her mother. The woman who once sneered at my wedding vows like I was reciting instructions for building IKEA furniture. Her voice cracked when she said my name. Please, you have to come back. It's Lisa. It's bad. She needs you. I stared at the phone for a long time after that call ended. And then, for the first time in years, I smiled. I didn't rush. I finished my coffee. Took the trash out. Even stopped by the hardware store for a box of nails I didn't need. Because when a woman who once treated you like a utility, a walking paycheck, a human security blanket, suddenly begs you to come back after 3 years of silence, you don't sprint. You let her marinate in her own mistakes for a while. Eventually, when the sun started bleeding into the sky, I climbed into my truck, the beat-up, nondescript four-eyed bot after I ghosted, and drove to the address her mother gave me. It was an ugly part of town, the kind of place where dreams went to suffocate under sagging porch roofs and cracked sidewalks. Hard to believe Lisa, who used to spend whole weekends arguing with contractors about authentic marble finishes, was holed up somewhere like this now. But there it was. A two-story rental, paint peeling like a bad sunburn, weeds choking the front yard, a rusty mailbox with no name. Perfect. I parked across the street, engine idling. Watched the front door. The porch light buzzed with a dying bulb. I waited 10 minutes. 15. Finally, the door cracked open. Sharon. It wasn't Lisa who stepped out. It was her mother. Sharon. She looked like a ghost herself. Brittle hair, dark circles under her eyes, a cigarette shaking between her fingers. She spotted my truck and stumbled down the steps toward me like she was afraid if she hesitated, I'd disappear again. Good instinct. I rolled down the window 2 inches. No more. Where is she? I asked, voice low deadpan. Sharon leaned against the door, eyes wide and desperate. She's not well, she said, voice cracking like old wood. After you left, things spiraled. She thought she could handle it. But after the second, no, the third, she broke off, coughing. I waited, cold, impatient, already calculating what game they were playing this time. Just tell me straight, I said. No theatrics. Sharon swallowed hard. Lisa's paralyzed, she whispered. That word, paralyzed. It hit harder than I thought it would. Not out of pity. No. But because somewhere deep down, the last remnants of the man who would have died for her stirred. And then shriveled. What happened? I asked, still calm. Still playing my part. Car accident. About a year ago. Drunk driver. She was coming home from some guy's house. Of course she was. The irony practically wrote itself. She's got nothing now, Sharon said, tears starting to stream. No friends. No money. Insurance dropped her. Medical bills. She shook her head. We're drowning. The silence stretched. I could feel Sharon starting to panic under the weight of it. You're all she has left, she whispered. I looked at her. Really looked. This was a woman who once told Lisa on our wedding day, if it doesn't work out, you can always do better. Now she was begging the man she deemed beneath them to come rescue their fallen golden girl. You could practically taste the irony in the humid summer air. Tell me something, I said, voice steady. Was she happy with him? Whoever she ran off with? Sharon flinched. No, she said. He dumped her. Took her money, too. I almost laughed. Almost. Instead, I shook my head slowly, a smile creeping onto my lips. Cold. Satisfied. I'm sorry for your loss, I said. Rolled up the window, put the truck in gear, and drove away. I didn't even glance in the rearview mirror. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. Ghosts don't come back. They watch. They remember. But they never, ever open the door again. The road out of that wreck Lisa called a house stretched ahead of me, wide and empty, just like I felt the day I signed those divorce papers. Difference was, this time, I wasn't broken. This time, I was bulletproof. I didn't crash on some buddy's couch. Didn't drown my anger in cheap whiskey. Didn't post cryptic quotes on social media, begging the universe to notice my hurt. No, I rebuilt. I started with a cabin, a rotting frame on the edge of town nobody wanted, too far from the freeway, too small for some developer's cookie-cutter plans. I paid cash. Didn't even haggle. Just signed the deed with a hand steadier than it had any right to be. It wasn't much at first. Just 4 walls and a roof that leaked when the rain got stubborn. But it was mine, and it would become more. While Lisa and her new soulmate were racking up bar tabs and bouncing between half-baked affairs, I was pouring cement by hand, framing walls by flashlight, teaching myself every trade skill I'd once paid others to handle. Board by board, nail by nail, the cabin grew into something solid, unshakable, same as me. By the end of the first year, I'd expanded it, added a wide porch, a real fireplace, a proper workshop out back where I started making furniture. Not for money, at first. Just to remember I could build things that lasted. It was funny. Lisa always said I was too simple, like it was a flaw. But it was simplicity that saved me. Simple rules. Simple truths. You don't betray the people who'd bleed for you. You don't lie with a smile on your face. And you sure as hell don't call someone yours if you're only going to rent their heart until something shinier comes along. The second year, the furniture orders started coming in, Word of mouth, mostly. No website. No ads. Just neighbors, friends of friends, people who valued something real. Tables, chairs, bookshelves, all built solid enough to outlive the people buying them. It wasn't glamorous, but it was steady, it was honest, and it was mine. Every dollar I earned went straight into savings, investments, assets no one could touch. No debts. No vulnerabilities. No fingerprints to track. By the time Sharon called, pleading for a mercy I didn't know, I wasn't just surviving. I was thriving. Funny how nobody ever asks how the guy who got left behind is doing. They just assume he's still waiting by the window like some sad, loyal dog. But I wasn't waiting. I was building an empire out of the ashes Lisa left behind. And the best part? She didn't even know it. She still thought I was some broken shell. Some memory trapped in an empty house, haunted by what she did. Meanwhile, I was standing on the other side of the state, building a life she couldn't even dream of touching. And that's when the real plan began to take shape. Because when someone burns your house down, you don't rebuild the same house. You build a castle. You build it so high, so strong, that they can't even see you from the ruins they're still picking through. And if they ever find out, you make damn sure it's too late. 2 weeks after Sharon's pathetic driveway ambush, another call came. This time, it was Lisa, not her mother, not a lawyer, not some weeping, hand-wringing intermediary. Lisa herself. Caller ID showed a number I didn't recognize. Burner phone, maybe. Probably borrowed. I let it ring. Let it bleed out to voicemail. No more freebies. About an hour later, my inbox dinged. An email, simple and desperate. Please. I know you probably hate me. I deserve it. But I have no one else. Please. Just talk to me. I read it once. Twice. Then I deleted it. Not because it didn't sting, it did. Buried under layers of scar tissue, some old wound cracked open for just a second. But you don't rebuild yourself from rubble just to hand the blueprint back to the one who torched it. 3 days later, another letter came. This one handwritten, stuffed awkwardly in a battered envelope. I recognized her handwriting immediately. Used to love that about her once. The way she curled her lowercase e's like little secret smiles. The letter was a mess of apologies, half-truths, and emotional ransom notes. How she never meant to hurt me. How the man she left me for turned out to be a liar. How he ran up her credit cards, cleaned out her bank account, then vanished like smoke. How she was lonely. How she was scared. How she just wanted to see me. Talk. Just talk. At the bottom, a line that would have broken a younger man. I still love you. I never stopped. I sat there for a long time, the letter crumpled in my fist. Not because I was tempted, but because of the sheer audacity. Love? Lisa wouldn't know real love if it dragged her out of a burning house. She loved the idea of me. The idea of stability. Of someone too stubborn to leave, too soft to fight back. And when the storms came, she abandoned the lighthouse for the first ship flashing a prettier flag. No, there would be no talk. There would be no redemption to her. But there could be something else. A message. Clear. Unmistakable. Final. I pulled a battered box out of the closet. Inside, a few relics I hadn't burned. Our wedding photo. A gold bracelet I'd given her for our first anniversary, still tarnished, still beautiful. A copy of the house deed. Back when it was still ours. I packed them neatly in a new box. Added the crumpled letter. No note. No explanations. I mailed it to the return address scrawled on her envelope. A rundown P.O. box in the bad part of town. Let her piece together the meaning on her own. And then, because life has a wicked sense of humor, I did one last thing. I went out that night, had a steak the size of my regrets, bought a bottle of whiskey that cost more than the first TV we ever owned together. And I filed the final piece of paperwork that had been sitting in my desk drawer for 6 months. A name change. Not legal yet. Needed court approval. But it was in motion. The man Lisa Sterling married was gone. Dead and buried. All that was left now was the man she made without even realizing it. The man she could never find again. You would think after 2 unanswered messages, 1 ignored letter, and a box of ghosts sent back to her, Lisa would get the hint. But no. You see, people like Lisa, they don't believe they can actually lose. Not really. They think they're the sun and everyone else just planets orbiting their light. They don't accept consequences. They negotiate with them. And when that fails, they get desperate. A month passed. The mornings got colder. The firewood I chopped stacked higher. Business picked up, a custom furniture order here, a cabin remodel there. Life was good. Then one morning, I pulled into the gravel lot behind my workshop, and there she was. Lisa, perched on the tailgate of her rusted-out sedan, arms wrapped around herself like some lost child. For a moment, it almost looked like something out of a bad country song. The broken girl returning home, looking for forgiveness. Except I knew better. There was no home here. No forgiveness left. Just ashes and locked doors. I killed the engine and got out, slow measured. She stood up, wobbling slightly, a shadow of the woman who once fought with waiters over the presentation of her salad. She was thinner now, sallow, like life itself had been draining her ounce by ounce. Good. Hi, she said, voice cracking. I didn't answer. Just stared. She flinched but pressed on, words tumbling over each other like kids tripping downstairs. I just wanted to see you. Talk. I know you probably hate me. I know I messed up. God, I messed up so bad, and She wiped her nose with a sleeve. I don't have anywhere else to go. There it was. The real reason. Not love. Not regret. Need. I almost smiled. Almost. Instead, I leaned back against the truck, arms folded, letting the silence strangle her. You were right, she whispered. You always were. I didn't want to listen. I thought there'd always be another safety net. Her voice cracked. And now it's gone. They're all gone. My friends. My money. Him. She took a trembling step closer, eyes shining with unshed tears. I don't want anything from you. I swear. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I just wanted to apologize. To say I'm sorry. And maybe once, a long time ago, those words might have meant something. Might have mattered. But not anymore. I straightened, pulled a thick envelope out of my back pocket, walked up to her, close enough for her to flinch when she saw it. Her eyes darted from the envelope to my face, desperate, confused. It's not a second chance, I said, voice like frost cracking across a windshield. It's the final nail. I dropped it into her hands and walked away without waiting for her to open it. Got in my truck, started the engine, pulled onto the road without looking back. Inside that envelope, court documents, a permanent restraining order, effective immediately, filed under my new legal name, signed, stamped, ironclad. She couldn't call. She couldn't show up. She couldn't so much as send a damn carrier pigeon without risking jail time. Checkmate. It wasn't just about keeping her away. It was about sending a message. You don't get to burn a man down and come back to sift through the ashes. A week after the restraining order was filed and delivered like a cold slap across Lisa's shrinking world, I thought that was the end of it. Hell, I wanted it to be. I wasn't sitting around with popcorn, waiting for updates about her wrecked life. I wasn't Googling her name or stalking her socials like some lovesick fool. I'd buried her. Or so I thought. Because karma, real karma, doesn't ask if you're ready. It just shows up, grinning like a wolf at the edge of the firelight. It was a Saturday. Clear sky. Sharp air. I was loading a custom oak table into a client's truck when my old burner phone, the number no one but a few trusted contacts even had, buzzed. No ID. Just a short voicemail. I debated. Could have deleted it. But curiosity has a taste too bitter to ignore. I played it. It was Sharon again. Lisa's mother. Her voice was frantic, almost incoherent, like she'd been crying for days without breathing. Please, if there's any decency left in you, call me. Lisa needs you. It's bad. It's so much worse now. Please, for God's sake, please. Click. I stood there for a minute, cold wind whipping around me, heartbeat steady as a ticking clock. Another client waved from across the lot. I forced a smile, helped them load their order, shook their hand. Because business is business. And ghosts don't punch clocks. That night, though, I let myself look. One quick search. Just one. And there it was. Lisa's name, splashed across the local news ticker like a stain. Woman indicted for insurance fraud, wire fraud, and grand larceny. Apparently, after the accident, after the pity party dried up and the charity check stopped coming, Lisa got creative, started forging medical bills, filed fake disability claims, scammed 2 charities, even dipped into a GoFundMe account that wasn't hers. When the feds finally caught up, they didn't just slap her with a fine. They came at her with both barrels. Prison time was on the table. Real prison. Not the white-collar spa camps people think of. The kind where reality claws at you until you can't tell yourself pretty little lies anymore. And just like that, the woman who once pranced through life like it was a red carpet was about to be another inmate with a number instead of a name. And me? I went fishing that weekend. Packed a cooler. Grabbed my rod and tackle box. Drove out to a little creek deep enough that the cell signal gave up halfway there. The water was cold. The air smelled like pine and fresh earth. And for the first time in years, real, deep down years, I exhaled without feeling like I was giving up some part of myself to do it. Lisa Sterling was no longer my problem. She was just another story. Another warning in a town full of them. A man who's been burned doesn't stop feeling the heat. He just gets smarter about where he sets up camp. So no, I didn't swear off women. I didn't build a cabin in the woods just to die alone, muttering into a tin cup. But I sure as hell wasn't handing over the keys to my soul just because someone batted their eyelashes at me either. Trust? That was no longer given. It was earned. Brick by brick. Layer by cautious layer. I met Morgan at the hardware store. Of all places, right? No candlelight. No bumping into each other at a fancy wine bar. No, love at first sight garbage. She was standing in front of the lumber aisle, squinting at a bag of galvanized screws like they were speaking a foreign language. I didn't even notice her at first. I was too busy grabbing decking boards for a client project. But then she asked, out loud, what the hell is the difference between a lag bolt and a carriage bolt anyway? No one answered. People just shuffled past like she was invisible. I don't know what made me stop. Habit, maybe. Or maybe the way her voice wasn't laced with flirtation, just genuine frustration. Carriage bolts are for joining wood, I said, tossing a packet into her cart. Lag bolts bite deeper. Better if you're hanging something heavy. She turned and smiled, not the polished, magazine cover smile Lisa used to practice in the mirror, but a real one. Crooked. Easy. Thanks, she said. I'm building a chicken coop. A chicken coop. Not a spa. Not a vacation business retreat. A chicken coop. God help me. I almost laughed right there. We talked for a few minutes. About lumber prices, the best type of wire mesh, how stubborn roosters could be. Simple things. And when she finally wheeled her cart away, waving casually, there was no lingering look. No overly sweet, maybe we'll see each other again. Just life. Moving on. Exactly how it should be. Over the next few months, I saw her around town now and then. At the feed store. At the farmer's market. Once when I was picking up parts for a chainsaw, she was arguing with the cashier over a refund and winning. Every time it was easy. Natural. No games. No auditions. She was who she was. Dirty boots, sunburned nose, sarcastic humor, and all. And me? I didn't chase. Didn't plan elaborate moves. Didn't twist myself into some charming version of who I thought I needed to be. I just showed up. And so did she. It wasn't until the first snowfall that things really shifted. I was closing up the workshop when I spotted her across the street, struggling to shovel out her truck, the snowpack tied as concrete. I grabbed my shovel, wandered over, and without a word, started digging. At first, she protested stubborn, but eventually, she let me work alongside her. When we finished, breath steaming in the freezing air, she punched me lightly in the arm. You're either stupid, she said, grinning, or the nicest guy in this town. I shrugged. Can it be both? She laughed, real, throaty, unfiltered. And for the first time in a long, long time, I laughed too. That night, we sat on the porch at my place, drinking bad coffee and watching the snowfall. No expectations. No declarations of forever. Just two people who'd been dragged through hell in different ways. Finding out that maybe, just maybe, the world wasn't done with them yet. And this time, I wasn't walking into anything blind. I knew the risks. I knew how fast love could turn into leverage. But I also knew something else. A man who builds his own fortress doesn't fear storms anymore. He just strengthens the walls and watches the horizon with clear, steady eyes.